let's look at some very simple shapes from nature today. I'm going to be using these lovely poppies as my inspiration. They self-seed in the garden and they're quite prolific. They're this gorgeous yellow, absolutely stunning. But what I like is at the same time you'll get the full flowers, you'll get the seed pods like this, and you'll even see them with the little stamens still attached, as well as the completely brown ones, and they change they're quite different. And I love these shapes, and they're the sort of shapes that you can put into paintings and little cards and studies if you want a little gap that you want to fill. So very, very simple. I'm just going to use a country olive because the country olive is almost the same colour. Just get this little card and show you. If I get my country olive and I just put it on there, it's almost the same colour. If I want to darken this, it's wobbling a little bit, I'm just going to place it down there so that it doesn't wiggle. And I put a little bit of the shadow colour. There's the shadow. If I was to put a little of the shadow in, do you see how that darkens it? And it gives it this lovely colour that we're going to need at the top and here at this little round bit here. So I think we'll start with one of these. So I've got that brush has got the shadow in. This brush is going to have a little bit of country olive. So I'm using the pointer brush, ever so simple. And let's put it about here. That's going to look really pretty about there. So I'm going to do a little dot at the top. I'm going to drop some shadow in a minute. And then if I look, it's got a little line. And then there's this lovely kind of shape. It's wider at the top and then it goes a bit narrower. When it gets to the narrow section, there's a little ball almost. So we'll just put a little ball, dip our brush in. This stalk is green and it's kind of wobbly. So we'll just put a wobbly stalk. And then with our shadow colour, we can just drop in a tiny bit of this, just to show it's a little bit darker here, a little bit darker there. And it's a really simple shape with our brush. It doesn't have to be exact. You don't have to make it go back and change it. Just look at the shapes and let your brush mould them on the paper. So that's our first shape. Then I think we'll do this one. We might slip this one in here and put these little stamens on. So we're going to start off, if I don't lose all the stamens, we'll just put, again, this little tiny top that it's got, little stick. And then there's almost, you see, like a triangle. I'm going to slip my brush into that shape and then wiggle the brush and take it to about here. And then we'll get sort of there. I can't really see what's going on, but I know there's a little round bit. And I know, dip the brush in, that we're going to have the stem coming from this. Now, at the same time, we're going to use a little bit of the purple again, and we'll just drop that in. But what we're now going to do is put these little stamens in. I think we'll put them in purple, add it into this green. So it's a dark colour. And we'll just put lots of tiny little dots here. Tiny little dots. And of course, if I touch the stem, it will run. Now, if I want to attach them, those lines are really, really fine. So I'm going to wait till it's dry and then I'm going to attach them just with my pointer brush, but I don't want thick lines, so I'll wait. So we'll do that in a moment. So we're going to put this back on here and then we're going to look at these shapes. These are lovely. Do you see, they're almost like little lanterns. They're quite beautiful. Lovely shapes to just pop into a painting. Move that. Now, I think we'll have, should we put one here? So, dark colour this time. I'm going to add, so the green and the purple for the shadow and the green work really well to give us these lovely dark sort of brown colours. They work well together. That's that lovely sort of brown colour. But if I warm it up with just a little bit of the pink, you'll see a little bit of the pink changes it. Just a little pink. And it then is almost what we want. So by adding the pink, we can drop in green, we can drop in a bit more of the purple, That's a lovely colour. So I'm going to scoop that up into my brush. I think I'm going to place it about there. So when I look at this, I won't hold it because it'll just wobble in my hand. But if I put it there, I can kind of see, it's almost like a little lantern, isn't it? I don't want it in a line, so I'm going to place it a little bit further down here. And I'm just going to do there's just a little ball on the top. And then there's some little wiggly bits here, almost like a straight line. There's a little triangular bit. And then we've got, well, it's a pod now. So there's a line down the middle. This one's going to join here. This one's going to join here. And then we'll have, again, a little circle. Dip our brush in, scoop up some of the paint, and then we'll just do a little wiggly line. Okay. And then I think I'm going to get this pink, and I'm going to just drop in a little bit of the pink. We'll watch and see how that dries. Oh, it must attach itself. Really pretty little shapes and very easy to do. And they are full of these little seeds. These ones are empty, but they scatter all, oh, there they go, there you are. Tiny, tiny little seeds, and they scatter all over the garden. So why don't we just put a few of these with the tip of our brush? It just gives the impression that there's some seeds. So great to use in a painting. This one, look, is it's a different shape. It's slightly rounder. And it doesn't matter if you've got some narrow, wonky ones, some are a bit wider. It doesn't matter at all. Let's do another one. Let's do it up here. So, little dot. And then really, really simply, we've got, let's place that down. That's easier. Then we've got, that's where we're going to aim for. Just to put a few dots for yourself. And then we've got 3 little lines. We've got a few little lines, but then we're going to look at the central section. So we've got a bit like this, and then we've got another little section here, and then another one joins it. It's almost like an ice cream cornet, but it's a bit rounded at the bottom. Oh, that's lovely. Bit of water. I just want this quite a pale colour here. And then we'll have this, again, the stem goes from brown, as they're starting to go dry, they're green at the bottom, brown at the top. So what we might do here is, let's just see, we'll just do this wobbly little stalk, and then we'll drop in some green, because some of the stalks do have green on. So let's just do that. As it changes at the bottom, it'll go this lovely green colour. So by looking at nature and looking at little things like this that you might observe, you can add these to your painting and it will make a huge difference. Let's put some green on here. Just tap a little bit. Now remember we said we were going to do some tiny little lines, and I think this is almost dry. So I've got to be quite careful here. So I don't want the brush too wet. I want the lines really fine, very hair-like. So we need a brush that's quite dry. So if I just show you, if the brush has less water in it, we can get the tiniest of little lines. Tiny. Doesn't have to be very dry, but that is just perfect. And all we're going to do, before we put any lines on, we're just going to look at where they come from. And they come from the base of that green. So they come from here. They don't come from here, but here. So let's just put a few of those little lines on. Just so that I might even do a little bit here. Doesn't even matter if they don't meet up. Just so that it looks like, wow, looks like the little stamens. And then just to finish it off, we might put a few more little seeds here. Drop in a bit of dark. You can just have fun dropping in colours. Do a whole page of these. They make lovely little cards. You can do some where you have these very pale in the background, and then in the foreground darker. You don't need any flowers. I just put the flowers there really so that you could see the development of the flower really. That's a very simple way of using your pointer brush. 3 colours, so country olive, wild rose and shadow. But the mixing is so important to get these lovely subtle shades. You don't need brown, you can create brown. So have a go using just 3 colours, 1 brush and something from the garden. Enjoy.